U.S. suggested Turkey transfer Russian-made missile system to Ukraine. The United States has informally raised with Turkey the unlikely possibility of sending its Russian-made S-400 missile defense systems to Ukraine to help it fight invading Russian forces, according to 3 sources familiar with the matter. U.S. officials have floated the suggestion over the past month with their Turkish counterparts, but no specific or formal request was made, the sources told Reuters. They said it also came up briefly during Deputy Secretary of State Wendy Sherman's visit to Turkey earlier this month. The Biden administration has been asking allies who have been using Russian-made equipment and systems including S-300s and S-400s to consider transferring them to Ukraine as it tries to fend off a Russian invasion that began on February 24. The idea, which analysts said was sure to be shot down by Turkey, was part of a wider discussion between Sherman and Turkish officials about how the United States and its allies can do more to support Ukraine and on how to improve bilateral ties. The Turkish authorities have not commented on any U.S. suggestion or proposal relating to the transfer to Ukraine of Ankara's S-400 systems, which have been a point of long-standing contention between the 2 NATO allies. Turkish foreign ministry officials were not immediately available for comment. Turkish sources and analysts said any such suggestion would be a non-starter for Turkey, citing issues ranging from technical hurdles related to installing and operating the S-400s in Ukraine, to political concerns such as the blowback Ankara would likely face from Moscow. Washington has repeatedly asked Ankara to get rid of the Russian-built surface-to-air missile batteries, since the first delivery arrived in July 2019. The United States has imposed sanctions on Turkey's defense industry and removed NATO member Turkey from the F-35 fighter jet program as a result. Ankara has said it was forced to opt for the S-400s because allies did not provide weapons on satisfactory terms. U.S. officials are keen to seize this moment to draw Turkey back into Washington's orbit. Efforts to find creative ways to improve the strained relationship have accelerated in recent weeks. Even though no specific proposal has so far gained traction, U.S. and Turkish sources have said. I think everyone knows that the S-400 has been a long-standing issue, and perhaps this is a moment when we can figure out a new way to solve this problem, Sherman told Turkish broadcaster Haberturk in an interview on March 5. It was not clear what exactly she meant, and the State Department has not answered questions about her comments. The White House did not respond to a request for comment about the suggestion made during her visit to Turkey. The effort is also part of a wider bid by the Biden administration to respond to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's plea to help protect Ukraine's skies. Russian or Soviet-made air defense systems such as S-300s that other NATO allies have and S-400s are sought after. One source familiar with U.S. thinking said Washington's floating of the possibility came as a result of the renewed effort to improve ties at a time when Ankara has been spooked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Turkish President Erdogan had not received a specific heads-up from Russian President Vladimir Putin on his plans of a full-scale attack on Ukraine, another source familiar with the discussion said. Turkey shares a maritime border with Ukraine and Russia in the Black Sea, and has good ties with both. It has said the invasion is unacceptable and voiced support for Ukraine, but has also opposed sanctions on Moscow while offering to mediate. Ankara has carefully formulated its rhetoric not to offend Moscow, analysts say, with which it has close energy, defense and tourism ties. But Ankara has also sold military drones to Kiev and signed a deal to co-produce more, angering the Kremlin. Turkey also opposes Russian policies in Syria and Libya, as well as its 2014 annexation of Crimea. Turkey has managed to walk on the razor's edge, and a transfer of a Russian S-400 would certainly lead to severe Russian ire, said Aaron Stein, director of research at the Philadelphia-based Foreign Policy Research Institute. And for Erdogan, the S-400 has become a symbol of Turkish sovereignty, so trading it away wouldn't be all roses and flowers.
Death from above moment Russia unleashes unstoppable nuclear-capable hypersonic missile destroying Ukrainian weapons warehouse.
Video captures the dramatic moment a Russian hypersonic missile destroys an ammunition depot in the west of Ukraine.
Moscow claims its deadly Kinzhal rockets cannot be stopped by Western missile defense systems.
Video captures the dramatic moment a Russian hypersonic missile destroys an ammunition depot in the west of Ukraine.
Moscow claims its deadly Kinzhal rockets cannot be stopped by Western missile defense systems. The video, reportedly filmed from a military drone, shows the moment a large Ukrainian ammunition depot in Ivano-Frankivsk was hit by a deadly Russian Kinzhal hypersonic missile. Russia's defense ministry said, the Kinzhal aviation missile system with hypersonic aeroballistic missiles destroyed a large underground warehouse containing missiles and aviation ammunition in the village of Delyatyn in the Ivano-Frankivsk region. Spokesman Igor Konashenkov said the unstoppable weapon was deployed on Friday. It is the first known time the new Kinzhal has been used in the conflict, but it was earlier tested in Syria in war conditions. Kinzhal missiles have an estimated range of 1,250 miles. President Putin earlier branded the missile an ideal weapon that flies at 10 times the speed of sound and cannot be brought down by conventional air defense systems. The Kinzhal is nuclear capable, but this was a conventional strike. It has a range of 1,250 miles and has no match in the West, according to Moscow. Konashenkov also claimed Russia had destroyed Ukrainian military radio and recon centers near the port city of Odessa using its Bastion coastal missile system, as reported by the Interfax news agency. Last month, President Vladimir Putin warned that Russia had stockpiled unparalleled hypersonic missiles. And earlier this week, Russia released chilling new footage of its 7,000 miles per hour Zircon hypersonic nuke missile that could hit London in 5 minutes. The Kremlin had previously branded the deadly weapon, which carries a conventional or nuclear warhead, unstoppable. Putin first announced the deadly Kinzhal missiles as part of a display of new Russian weaponry in 2018. At the time, Putin said of the West, they need to take account of a new reality and understand. This is not a bluff. Desperate Putin has recently been using more destructive weapons as the war wages on. Last month, Russia began dropping terrifying vacuum bombs that can explode enemy troops' lungs near Ukraine's second city of Kharkiv. It comes as 4 Russian cruise missiles yesterday slammed into a strategic airfield in the city of Lviv as Putin pushed his war west. The warheads, weighing a combined 1,600 kilograms and fired from more than 400 miles away, represented the first attack on the historic city. It had been considered a relatively safe haven for diplomats, aid workers, refugees, and journalists. Britain's Armed Forces Minister James Heappey said the strike showed Russia was now widening its bloody assault on Ukraine. Air raid sirens sounded across Lviv shortly after 6 a.m. as the Kh-555 cruise missiles zeroed in from Russian bombers over the Black Sea. 2 were shot down by air defense systems, but 4 smashed into 2 repair plants for aircraft and buses, less than 4 miles from the city center. A fierce blaze broke out and fire engines and ambulances raced to the scene. But a major loss of life was avoided because staff had left minutes before. Amazingly, just 1 person was injured. Fighting yesterday reached the center of the besieged southern city of Mariupol, where up to 350,000 civilians have been stranded with little food or water. Russia's defense ministry issued a chilling warning, claiming its forces were tightening the noose around the port city. More than 130 people have been rescued following a Russian airstrike on a theater in the city, where hundreds were sheltering in a makeshift bomb shelter. The city's mayor Vadim Boychenko told the BBC that street fighting was preventing rescue teams from reaching hundreds of civilians trapped in the basement of the theater. Speaking early on Saturday, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said there was no new information regarding fatalities in the city, but said it was facing the greatest ordeal in its history, in the history of Ukraine. In a video address, he called for urgent, meaningful, fair peace talks. He warned Moscow that a drawn-out war would lead to so many Russian losses that it would take generations for the country to recover. Negotiations on peace, on security for us, for Ukraine meaningful, fair, and without delay, are the only chance for Russia to reduce the damage from its own mistakes, he said. Fighting continues this weekend in the southeast in Mariupol, in the southern cities of Mykolaiv and Kherson, and in the eastern town of Izium. The former head of Britain's armed forces has backed calls today for Putin to face a Nuremberg-type trial similar to that faced by the Nazis after World War II, following Russia's morally indefensible tactic of attacking Ukrainian civilians. Speaking on BBC Breakfast, Lord Richard Dannatt said Russian troops had been briefed really poorly before going into Ukraine, and had been led to understand they would be welcomed as peacekeepers and liberators.